So I want to just say thank you to Minister Williams for her dedication, not just to the school, but to the mission through a pandemic, which a lot of people don't recognize, but you've been doing it and doing it and doing it well. That is a song for those of you that are young enough to know.
For over 17 years, e-learning Jamaica Company Limited has and continues to play its part in transforming the teaching and learning environment through the use of information and communication technologies. The Tablets in Schools program, since it was redesigned due to the COVID-19 pandemic, has distributed over 39,000 tablets to PATH students in grades 4 to 6, and we've also distributed over 11,000 laptops to high school PATH students in grades 10 to 13 across the island. Ladies and gentlemen, we are confident these devices will aid in preparing our students in developing vital skills such as communication, collaboration, and digital literacy. Students, we're asking you, begging you, please ensure that you take good use of these devices when it is that you use them, of course, in class and in other uses as you go on.
Well, I acknowledge, of course, our Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honorable Fayval Williams, who I must tell you is a quiet storm. She's everywhere, almost omnipresent, and she is one of the hardest working ministers that I've seen for a very, very long time. So I want to just say thank you to Minister Williams for her dedication, not just to the school, but to the mission through a pandemic, which a lot of people don't recognize, but you've been doing it and doing it and doing it well. That is a song for those of you that are young enough to know. Okay? Let's move on. But I want to say on behalf of myself and the Council and Minister how much this means to the constituency of South East Clarendon, particularly to our students on PATH. We are living in a parish where there is an intense need for focus on development of our youth, development of champions, development of the future leaders. And the only way to do that is to give them the tools to tackle the challenges that they're confronting in education, social challenges, economic challenges. And so we understand that this is an important part of the process. Even more important is knowing how to use those tools. So I echo the sentiment of saying to you students, when you are given this gift, the greater gift is to use it, maximize it in a positive way. Don't find yourself going onto websites that you ought not to be seeing. You know the difference between right and wrong. You're old enough, you're taught, you're in a society where you are already exposed to what is right and wrong. Right. But take my advice. Right. Be disciplined, be focused, be consistent with how you care and use this equipment. It will help you, but it can also hurt you if it is used in the wrong way. Okay? That's right. Now I also want to just announce that in addition to the devices that we have received from the Ministry of Education and Information to our PATH students, we have 100 devices which the Minister was kind enough to extend to each constituency, and she whispered to me that we'll be getting them soon. I'll allow her to tell you exactly when, so that she will be held accountable to that date, my very good friend. But I want to say, in addition to that, we, as the political leaders of this constituency, have provided devices to different areas across the constituency. We will continue to lean on the diaspora and on our friends and family members to give support to students in terms of devices, in terms of uniform, in terms of food, and other things that are needed to nourish your body so you can nourish your mind.
So I'm also happy that once again we've been able to join forces with e-learning Jamaica to get laptops and tablets to students and teachers across the island. To date, we have delivered 499 to primary and junior high schools here in Clarendon Southeast, and specifically to Green Park Primary 60. There will be more as we continue to roll out. As you know, we do have 2 additional programs. So there are 3 programs. One is the government procurement specifically for students who are on path in our primary schools and our high schools, and we will continue to do that procurement so our path students can get the device. The second program is the Own Your Own device, and I hope many of you parents here in the constituency would have signed up for that. The government made available $20,000 to families that are not on path, but they're needy. And to date, we are almost at 30,000 families that would have signed up online, received their vouchers, and went and redeemed it at a vendor that was approved by e-learning, and they would have had, their child would have had a device. And then the third program that we have is called One Laptop or Tablet per Child. And it's a program in which we went out to the private sector, to our diaspora, to private individuals in Jamaica, asking them to open their hearts and to give a donation of devices. And they've come on board. And to date, I think we probably are at about 30,000, and we would have already distributed those. In a lot of the cases, the donors would specify the school that they wanted to go to. Otherwise, we look and see how many devices are in a particular school, and to the extent that they're really low on the, low down in terms of the number of devices, then we would prioritize those schools. I'm happy that we are beginning to transition to the face-to-face mode, and you are one of the first schools, primary schools, that was able to be back in the face-to-face environment. We approved almost 51% of primary schools across Jamaica. The smaller primary schools are the ones with capacity below 630. And you qualified, you were in rural Jamaica. Most of the students probably walk to school or live within very short distances. You had adequate water and so on. And so that's why you're able to come back into the face-to-face mode. But we are going to bring back more and more of our students to school over the next several weeks. You will know as well, even though you're at a primary school, but just to complete the circle, in our high schools, our high school students are getting vaccinated, and they will be back into the face-to-face environment as soon as their school gets to be 65% or better vaccinated. The vaccinated students will be back in the face-to-face, and those that are not vaccinated who choose not to be, they will continue getting their education via the online mode or television, audiovisual, television, radio, or using their books. So that's where we are as we try to manage through the pandemic. We have to be careful and to ensure that we bring you back safely into the face-to-face environment. So the Minister of Finance and the Public Service would have allocated funds towards procuring devices, 100 per MP, and e-learning. So this is being done, this is being coordinated through the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and e-learning, which is an entity at the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. Based on where we are, we think within the next 2 weeks we'll be able to start the handing over process to the MPs.
Teachers have been advocating for devices, for tablets. A promise was made that you would be looking into that initiative. Mm-hmm. Can you give us an update on that?
Sure, absolutely. Well, let me say first off that I believe all our teachers should have laptops. It's a tool for them to work with as we are demanding a blended environment, meaning some children will be at home while some are in the school. So they need a proper device in the classrooms to be able to do that. Additionally, we've started creating lesson plans for them. They're in a lesson plan repository, meaning online, so they have to go online, download these plans, and look at them, go through them, do whatever modifications they want to the lesson plans. And you can do that better on a laptop than you can on a tablet. So where we are right now, and I think at the time I'd indicated as well that when we start, we won't be able to give to everybody at the same time. We're going to do as much as we can in our budget and then continue that. And so far this year, we believe we'll be able to do 5,000. We're going to start with our primary school teachers first in order for them to get those, and then we will move on with other allocations. So we're pretty close to being able to make the announcement.